Okay, guys, hello. Welcome to Knowledge is Power. We do this every Sunday and Tuesday evening. But I let my audience know and understand that we're going to do a special show on Thursday evening at 8 o'clock.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me? Why you can't hear me? Can you hear me now? Everybody can hear me?
Well, you can hear me now, right?
Yeah, I can hear you, Jordan. Okay, great. I got Jordan Mitchell here. So everyone can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Say something. Okay, all right. So thank you guys for joining us this evening. And I want you to know that
I can't hear him.
You need something wrong with something wrong with your computer or your phone. Are you on your phone or computer? Jordan has left again. He's gone again. He's out. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Well, what I want you to do is sign off and sign back on. How about that? Okay. Let's start it all over again. How about that? Okay. Okay. Well, hello, Mary. Can you hear us now, Mary?
I can hear you now.
Yeah. Stop buying your computers from General Dollar Store, okay? All right. All right, everybody. We're here at Knowledge is Power. And I was announcing earlier before I was interrupted is that we're going to have a special edition show on Thursday. And I'm going to be inviting all citizens, any citizen of the city of Beaumont. We're going to discuss about issues that we have here in Beaumont local. Any local citizen can inbox me at Knowledge is Power, or you can call or set up a time if you would like to show up. I mean, we're going to do an hour and a half of just expressing ourselves about the concerns we have in the city of Beaumont. And we need to voice our opinion, voice our disturbance that we have. And we want to get out to the public to know that we want our city officials to know that we need some changes here. So now let's get with this show here. The show today is with the Young Democrats of Southeast Texas. Am I correct?
Yes, Southeast Texas Young Democrats. That's correct.
Right. And Executive Committee Officer is Jalen Gasper. Did I pronounce you right?
Jalen's not on.
Oh, he's not on? Let's see. Yes, okay, Jalen's not on, but Jordan is. Okay, great. We got the President Naomi Dahl.
No, I'm Vice President.
Are you Vice President? My notes are wrong. Okay.
Jalen is the president, and I am.
Jalen's president. Okay, I got it. And you are the vice president, and Mary Bond is the secretary, and Ms. LaDonna Sherwood is the treasurer. That she is the right corner. Great. Naomi, let's start with you. If you're ready, let's go. Our discussion is basically, I want to maybe ask a few questions like, what about your organization? How you're organizing?
Yeah, so we are a group of 14 to 40-year-old is what we allow for membership, and we strongly believe in the democratic principles, and we are about voter engagement, increasing voter turnout, making sure that we have an informed populace, and that we are the incubator for the future leaders, activists, and organizers of the Democratic Party.
Great. Now, also, could you educate us on the GOTV efforts that you're going to have?
Absolutely. So we definitely are looking to bring voter registrar classes to our members so that we can make sure that we are deputized to register people to vote, because that's the first step. And then also in our pursuit of actually having people registered and them turning out to vote, because that's the key piece. You're registered now, you got to get to the polls. We want to make sure that we provide voter education as well. So we keep our voters informed. We keep our members informed of election dates. of, you know, the things that are going on in city council, pertinent things to the Democrats and the Democratic Party, and especially young Democrats. So that's going to be a big piece for us, is actually getting out in the community, making sure people are registered, making sure we educate people on the election dates, getting people to the polls. So that is going to be one of the big pieces of our organization during election time. And then when it's not election time, we got to educate our members and making sure that we provide the training and stuff that's needed for us to be the leaders and activists we choose to be.
Well, let me ask you this. So you all in this group, or in this Young Democrat of Texas, Southeast Texas, are you going to be recruiting more members?
Sure.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Recruiting is important. In fact, everywhere, you know, we have been going to protests as well, and we've been getting interest. We've increased our roster just from the interactions that we're having with the community. So recruitment is a big piece, because anyone who is a Democratic voter and supports the Democratic principles, then we want them. 14 to 40, we want you. We need diversity. We want to be an inclusive organization. So recruiting, going out and getting people, especially once we're able to make those human-to-human contacts again, we look forward to having those events that allow us to recruit more members as well.
I'm glad to have you guys here, because we need more young energy that this generation that's coming up behind me and my group. And we need y'all efforts. We need y'all energy. We need y'all push. We need all of that to establish and make the Democratic Party in the Southeast Texas much of a stronghold. How about education? Who's handling the education? Tell me about the education of the program. I lost somebody again.
Sure.
I go to LaDonna again. Okay, LaDonna, let's go to LaDonna.
Okay, so if we're going to talk about education, so what we're going to do, as Naomi kind of mentioned, we plan on being an incubator where people can come and learn how to run for office and what that takes. And then we're also going to educate them on candidates, the local candidates that we have running, what their platform is, get them some meet and greet time with those people, so that we're creating a base where everybody knows what's happening. You know, the Southeast Texas Young Democrats is going to be an organization where you can come and be groomed for candidacy, groomed to become an activist, and you can gain a wealth of knowledge from other people that have already done it, you know, how they've been doing it and what changes we may need to do, you know. So education is going to be key. We're going to also talk about, you know, the voting process and different things of that nature, making sure that people know what they need to bring when they go out to vote, you know, making people know what their rights are as far as voting, you know, absentee voting, different ways of voting, one, who's eligible, two, candidate information, three, and also just taking the lead on creating our own homegrown candidates. That way we don't have to go out searching for new people. If there's a position that needs to be filled, then we've already got these people that are in our group that want to be active, that want to get involved, that want to mobilize, that want to strategize, that have this energy, that we're putting together an organization of leaders on a lot of the levels, starting at a young age. We want to make sure that we let people know what needs to happen, and we're here to support them and foster and facilitate that growth.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That was awful explanation. Let me ask you this then. Are you all going to, I'm looking at my notes here. I want to make sure I'm got the right notes that I want to ask. And that is not those notes. So let's tell me about a little bit of diversity in conclusion. Mary, can you handle that one?
Yeah, I can. Thanks for having us, by the way, Tony. I think diversity is a big part of the Young Democrats of Southeast Texas. Diversity is both the Democrats' strength and sometimes our biggest challenge. But the younger generations definitely advocate and speak up for change more than anyone. And we're hopeful to be that voice locally here in Southeast Texas. I believe the ticket for the general election coming up in November is going to be historically diverse. I think young people can create some of that diversity, and they can, you know, enlighten people on the importance of voting, why we vote, what can change some of these changes we're wanting to see, some of the changes going on in the world now that we would like to see, become more permanent, things that we want to see happen. A lot of that happens through voting and getting the vote out and turning up at the polls. And, we as Democrats, we value people, all people. And our hope is to welcome and interact with others to build respect, understanding, and trust. And pretty much as long as you're a Democrat and have democratic values and loyalty, you can be a member of the Young Democrats of Southeast Texas. The only thing that disqualifies you is if you are a Republican.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let me ask you this. So you guys are going to be behind the young adults and pushing them from the age of 17, 18?
14.
14. Wow, you're going way back.
We actually have two members that are 14. So it's 14 to 40.
14 to 40. So now, will you all start doing the next election? Let's go to the general election. I'm going to talk about the general election. Would you guys have grassroots placed to knock on doors for the general election?
Oh, absolutely. We do have a voter outreach, obviously, but we also will be assisting candidates from the Democratic Party. We would definitely look to foster a great relationship with our new Democratic chair. And so Joseph Trahan is doing a great job as he is stepping into that role. And so we look to foster and help the Democratic Party as best as we can. So yeah, we will be boots on the ground, knocking doors, and trying to get our Democratic candidates elected.
And would you also, this group going to be also involved in, I heard you earlier said that you're going to be more involved in the registration drives.
Correct. And we are a newly formed group. So and COVID-19 kind of knocked us off the train for some of the things we already had planned. So we're looking forward to being able to get back out there and take some of those ideas that we had to help with GLTV and making those voter registration drives, being there, doing things for Lamar, doing things with Lamar Orange, because we are we encompass, all of Southeast Texas. So we do look forward to doing those voter registration drives. Yes.
Hey, I have a great idea, and we're gonna discuss that. I'd like to discuss it with you at another time, not on live right now, to how we can increase our registration drive and increase our registrations. And that's something I have on paper. I just want to kind of brush that on because you guys have that young energy. My legs are too tired to be bouncing around everywhere. So I like to talk to you guys after the show about that for about 5 minutes. But thank you again for that information. Now let's talk about why would you want to be? Do you think that what you're doing now will we have the right count going forward versus the Republican Young Generation Party? I guess they have a party as well, do they?
They exist. They might have a couple leaders in place, but what we're doing is actually imperative to the future of the party, and the things that we're doing as far as grooming young people is one thing, but us also making sure that we're engaged in informing members of upcoming elections, informing them of the events that are going on in our city and our community are important also to change the landscape in the scope of what we're seeing right now in politics.
Well, that's also awesome. But now, you are running in the next re-election, right?
That is correct. Naomi Showers Gold for Justice of the Peace. That's right.
Give you a little plug that on slide, So I am so proud of you guys are coming together and doing this because we need your energy. Because there's always been a lack of voters between the age of 18 and 35. We want you all we're going to encourage you all to continue to recruit. So what different method that you're going to do to recruit? You're going to go into the schools. You're going to go to, how are you going to recruit those young, Donna?
We plan on doing it all. We don't plan on leaving a stone unturned. Really and truly, we plan on going into the highways and the byways, honey, and compelling them to come. We're going to give free food. We're going to have little mixers. We We plan on doing social media. You know, when you're a personable person like myself, Naomi and Mary and the executive board, we all make sure to let our light shine, and hopefully we can draw them. Hopefully we can compel them to come out and not be ashamed and not be afraid to come on out and join an organization and get involved and work out your soul salvation, honey. Come on and help us get this going, because change is what we need. At the end of the day, we're looking for change, and what better way to facilitate and foster change than to go out and compel people, bring them one by one, invite a friend, bring some, I was thinking, even just recently, funny that you should ask. I mean, we should have like an invite a friend to the meeting day or something. Like whoever invites the most people, they win a prize, or whatever the case may be. Just invite people in. We can go to the high schools and compel them to come, the colleges and compel them to come. We can go into our churches. We can go into our civic organizations. Some of us like to dance. I'm a dancer. So I can go into my little places that I like to hang and compel people to come and get involved on these causes that matter most, that are affecting the legislation, that's ultimately going to change our lives and our children's lives. And if we don't get involved, then I don't want to hear you say anything. You know what I mean? So if we, you also have to make it work people's while. You have to inform them of what the benefits are as far as the future and the outcomes of not participating, of not being involved, of sitting back and waiting for somebody else to come and save you. That's not going to happen. You have got to get out and go. Put your feet to the pavement and hit it. Let's go.
Oh, you got it. You're on fire. You're on fire. We're always got the president here. Jalen Gasper, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. What about yourself, Mr.
Oh, that's wonderful. I'm wonderful. Let me tell the audience right again that we do this on Knowledge is Power every Sunday and Tuesday evening. So if you're watching the show tonight, please join us. Please share our video. Share it to everyone, your loved ones, your friends and family. Share this, because I'm recruiting now. I'm recruiting young voters. I want you to get involved with the young Democrats of Southeast Texas. This is an outstanding group of people, that young people are getting ready to bring it on. Because we need your vote come November, because let me tell you something. I always say this is my favorite words, is that we've got to vote this November like we never voted before. So we need to vote. We need everyone voting in November. My question to you, and I'm gonna come back to you, Jalen, because I've got to make sure I express myself this way. Also, on Thursday, I'm having a special edition this Thursday evening. I'm going to be inviting any citizen who would like to express their concerns, issues about the government of this city of Beaumont, to inbox me their email address, to send them, so that I can send you a link to the show, so you can join the podcast. We will have visual round table discussions. It makes our voices heard, since we only get a few minutes if we at downtown in City Hall. So we want to make sure we express ourselves to our city leaders that we want some changes. We need an upgrade. So anyway, and one of the things that we must say again, we are also giving respect for Georgia Floyd, and when we talk about what you guys are doing, this is the reason why. This is a great thing that you all are doing. It's for that reason as well. And we wouldn't have to go through this if we didn't vote. We have to vote from the bottom up, from local to national. Don't you agree, Naomi?
Oh, absolutely. And it's interesting you say that, because I think so heavily about the Ahmaud Arbery case. And when you look at the DAs who accused themselves, and then the DA who failed to indict those men who murdered Ahmaud Arbery, DAs are local officials voted in the off years in Texas. So that is something that you might not vote for it in the presidential election, but 2 years from now, when you forgot all about the hype, those are the people who are the ones that are putting our kids in prison, and those things matter, So absolutely, from the bottom up.
Maybe once more for the people in the back, sweetheart.
Yeah, all right. Okay, now Jalen, the president of the Young Democrats of Southeast Texas. Let me ask you something, Jalen.
Yes, sir. Ask me anything.
What qualifies someone to be a member of the Young Democrats?
Oh, easily. It's an easy qualification. One of the real prerequisites, really the only prerequisites we have, is for you to be, from the ages of 14 to 40, right? That's like young, considered like Democrat. And the reason why we stop it at 40 is because when you really look at like the voting age of like certain demographics, really the people who vote the most are people who are around like 60 and older, right? So we still consider that 40 age group to be apathetic and young. So around like all you have to be is 14 through 40 to, basically just sign up. No membership fee at all. So, that's all it really takes to be part of this group.
Jordan, can you hear us? You there, Jordan? Yeah, I think you're.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, great. Your mic was was muted, so I want to make sure. Can I ask you, why are you a Democrat?
Well,
I know why.
I'm a Democrat because
Give me what makes it so that you want to be a Democrat? You are one. What are you going to bring to the table?
I'm sorry.
We having trouble.
You're having trouble hearing? Okay. Let me move on to back to Mary. Mary, can you answer that question? Why are you a Democrat?
Why am I a Democrat? There's lots of reasons. I won't waste the whole time talking about it. But, one thing when I hear about the Democratic Party, there's lots of things that come to my mind. But the first thing is we are a party of the people. We are the people. We're for the people. Everybody, the people. And that was one of the first things I heard when I was drawn into the party. There's lots of issues that make me a Democrat. But, my thing is I have a value system that I live by, and I have to align my political beliefs. Most of them, some of them can vary a little bit, but most of my beliefs are aligned with the political beliefs of the Democratic Party. So if I was to describe my personal value system that I live by as best I can on a daily basis, it's going to align with party values. So it's going to go as far as education and school, all the way to, insurance, Medicare, Medicaid. It's just, I one time, I was raised by Republicans, and they were good people, and they still are good people. They're my parents. But I was very fortunate because they were very open-minded people, and their political beliefs were not so strong that I couldn't kind of research and evaluate my own experiences and journey, and have the support of them saying, you have to believe what you believe and do what you think is best for you in your life, and we're right here with you. And it's been a real cool learning experience to have a mixed family of politics. Sometimes it can get pretty heated at Christmas dinner, but I was able to be empowered by people who don't believe the same as me to go, reach for the things that are important to me, and make me be the woman I am today, and be a proud Democrat. And I think I touched on that just because I know how fortunate I was to have a family who said it doesn't matter if you're like us, you get to go do what's best for you. And that was a big deal for me, because I think a lot of times people sometimes follow, what their family follows, instead of, what works for me? What do I feel, in my heart is the right thing to do and the right thing to fight for? So I just fight for the Democratic Party to be kind of, make a little more noise locally, and make sure we keep those Democrats in office and get them reelected. And I encourage everybody watching this that if you don't know what side of the political,
spectrum,
stuff we're on, spectrum, there's a good word, to maybe, you know, line it out, write down what are your beliefs and value systems close to your heart,
I'm on the podcast.
and what are the ones in the parties. And that's how I found what I consider to make me a Democrat.
Awesome, awesome. You know, you guys are really motivated, and I'm going to support you guys as much as I can. That's why I have you on this podcast, so that you can express what your goals, your platforms, your platform is, and how are you going to start your recruiting. I have a young lady that's gonna bring on here. There we go. And she has a question, and that question is going to be she's Jessica Crawford. She's asking, so many people believe that their vote doesn't count. How do we combat that mentality?
Ooh, can I take this one, y'all?
Hey, go ahead.
Because I covered this in another podcast, but it definitely counts. So I am also the elections manager here in Jefferson County. So from a factual, statistical, mathematical standpoint, your vote absolutely does count. So that's the facts, and we're just gonna put that out there. You vote, you cast your ballot, it's gonna get tallied at the Central County Station, and that's just it. But the mentality is the problem, right? That's what keeps people at home. That's what makes them think it's okay for them not to show up and not to vote because it doesn't matter. So we address that by channeling that as power. Like, that is my biggest thing. If you knew the power that you had when you go to those polls, that is the one time, if you never felt equal in your whole life, that you are equal. An 18-year-old African-American man has the same weight in his vote as a 65-year-old Trump supporter. It's the same. So when you look at that, and you look at that as your power, you may never be seen as equal. We can stand in a protest line and we can be sprayed with mace while our counterparts are, you know, patted down, and it's all fine. But when you go vote, that is power. And so if you looked at it that way, and if you teach people and you talk to them that way, and you say, listen, we can change things with a simple vote. If you change the message that way, we can actually get people out of that mentality, because they just think it doesn't matter. But if you give it to them like, this is your power, I think that would be the change that we need.
And just to piggyback on that, if I could just add one thing, I would also add, not only is it your power, but it is your right. It is your duty. It is your ancestors that came before you fought for you to have this opportunity. Not just is it your power, but your ancestors wanted this for you. They knew something at that time that we have left away from, that we need to get back to, sweetheart. I'm sorry. I'm not going to.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Jamie.
I'm sorry, Tony.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Naomi's and LaDonna's answer was so great. And I really like how they put it, the power, because there is power and utility in our vote. But I don't know if Jessica is touching on specifically the Electoral College or not, because I know there's a lot of talk about that in the Black community, about like we feel like our vote doesn't count because of the presence of the Electoral College. But if it is that, I just want her to know that, like, that's why earlier when we said voting up and down is what matters. Like, the thing is, we can only socially progress our world or our nation by having good ground game locally. So like the most things that you can attribute to are the elections that people sit out the most, right? Everybody's going to the presidential election. Everybody's, voting in these midterm elections. But the important elections are, okay, your city council election, your court commissioner, especially your court commissioner, man. Like, in local politics, I thought all the mayor had the power but seeing how much power the port commissioner actually has, just about like controlling the ports, like, it's so integral for us to vote locally and statewide. And like, these are the elections where people are the most apathetic in. And I know Naomi touched on one thing about, us having power in our vote. And I believe that, we do have utility in our vote. But unfortunately, throughout, this process and, the history of America, certain demographics of people have been left out and not given the opportunity, and even had their vote suppressed in the process. And so what I say to that, though, I say that. I'm sorry. Okay. But what I have to say to that, though, is that, you know, the only way to fight that system is to have good ground game locally. And that's why one of the main things for our organization is galvanizing and educating voters and, you know, open our voter process locally, because that's how you see a big change. If you want to affect the electoral college, if you want to turn Texas blue, we have to turn Jefferson County super blue. And we have the power to do that.
That's right.
I like that. I like that, Jalen. Now, one thing that I picked up on you is that I like the ground game.
Okay. And did he say super blue? We need to use that. Did you say super blue?
Super duper blue.
Super blue.
Yeah, but, you know, I like that. I like, you know, to get that, we have to have a strong ground game. And that is the way that it has to be done. And you young guys are really into it. And I am going, again, I repeat myself, I'm going to support you. And this is why we're going to push this, we're going to push you all, and we're going to push your show. We're going to put everything there. And Jessica said, thanks for the answer. You did a great job with that. So let's go. Why do they question? My question is, why do people do not vote? Do you know that?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you say why people don't vote, I think a lot of it is, I mean, I don't want to, y'all know me. Okay, let's get the right word. I think, I'm just going to say ignorance is bliss. Sometimes you just don't know. And what you don't know, you just don't know. Like, if you're not abreast of what the local jobs are, who's doing them, what they actually entail, what are they doing in those jobs, then why would you vote? You know, you're not going to participate in something that you don't understand what's happening in the job or why. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, how are you going to get those young people out to vote?
And, if I could just piggyback off of LaDonna.
Okay, great. Yes.
Because, you know, she said something really and I really like how she said it, because it kind of puts something in my mind that, you know, voter apathy is not a individual problem. It's a generational problem.
Right.
The problem is that we certain demographics, specifically minority demographics, like, you know, African Americans, we've been through a lot when concerning systematic oppression. So throughout a lot of times, when we vote for elections, specifically like local and state elections, we have like a council board, like Port Arthur, right? We have a council board full of Black people. So what's going to really inspire Black people to vote if they just see a bunch of Black people not doing anything yet? And so I feel like the only way to get those people to vote is to really convey a sense of urgency by talking about topics that they really care about. And the only way we can even know that is by going door to door, knocking. And this is the hard job right here. People don't want to do this. We got to go door to door, knocking on doors, phone banking, and actually understanding and getting a general consensus of what people in Jefferson County really want, so we can really speak to them. And that's my opinion, though.
You know, last year was my first time running for office, and it was a lesson for me. I mean, I learned a lot. I learned about the political game, and I learned about the ground game and knocking on doors and absentee voting. And I just learned a lot. I learned about people too, as well, because in the political ring, when you're running in the political ring, people changes on you. So I learned my lesson, and but to get where we need to go, especially locally, we've got to get our young adults out voting. And like you said earlier, the local is where, when they see that we have more Blacks are getting elected or being on the council, then they're going to, you think they would just, I think
well, minorities, period. Maybe
right,
not
right. Minority, period. Yes, minority, regardless. And I think we'll see a spark in voting then.
You
So
know,
I kind of speak from my campaign experience as well, Tony. I can tell that they're in the community, they feel unheard. A lot of people just don't feel heard. So things happen and they feel like they have no part in it. They have no say in it.
Right.
And so it is incumbent upon elected officials to actually get out there and make those touches to them. We can't wait for them to come to our, meetings, commissioners meetings or whatever people work. People are not going to be able to come. And sometimes they just don't want to come, but we have to make it a point to get out in those communities. And that's what I love the best about this whole process is that we go out there, we talk to them, and you hear what they need. And what LaDonna said about them not knowing, a lot of people didn't know what a justice of the peace does, but you just have to tell them. And when you tell them, you're like, yeah, oh, okay, well, I would probably go to that court more than any other court I would ever see. So you just have to make it plain, and you have to not be afraid to go and touch those people. And so that's the key right there. It's like we can't sit behind in our desk and behind a bench or whatever and think that people are going to come to us. That's not going to work. That's not how we're going to get these young people to vote. If we got to go and pull them to the poll, like, hey, come on, let's go, then that's what needs to happen. Because once they do it and they start seeing change, listen, I understand the representation matters. I'm going to be the first African-American female judge in Jefferson County. Now, that's ridiculous that it took so long, but we're here, and that's what we're here to do. And I know what it means for people coming behind me, for minorities, African-Americans, for women. I know what that means. And so that's the kind of stuff we want to be happening in the Jefferson County, in our party, right? And inside the Young Democrats, we want to be able to funnel these type of people through and get us up into leadership positions, and then provide a space for all these people and all these ideas.
And whatever first we have to do, whatever ceilings we have to crash, we're here to crash them. We ready right now. We signed on to change the world.
Hey, you answered your question on it. When you and I was backstage talking, and you said, well, what this podcast is about, Tony? This is what it's about. Sharing knowledge to our people.
Right.
Knowledge is power.
Yeah, I agree, Tony. I like everything everybody said, and I think one of the things LaDonna said is what I think is the biggest problem is the lack of knowledge.
Right.
The lack of education. If you're not like who your friends are, who your family is, may actually have an impact on whether people vote. I mean, are your parents, are your sisters, brothers, are your associates, your friends, are these people who vote in the community? Because a lot of people, what do their conversations look like? Are they talking about local politics? Is that what their friends are talking about? And so I was very fortunate that I had some friends around me that talked a lot about it and piqued my interest in wanting to be a voter. I also think sometimes for people, two parties is not enough. You don't just have Republicans and Democrats anymore. Right. And so sometimes people say, I can't relate to either party, and I see things a little differently. Where's my place? Well, we hope your place is with us in the Democratic Party, right? But that's not everybody. And so that may keep people from voting. And registration, we say it's easy, and it can be, and people can help you, but it takes work. It takes you reaching out, giving some information, and doing a little bit of work on your part. And people may not know what that entails. And so there's just so many factors. There's people who have been to prison, convicted felons. They don't realize, and I think Joe Deschanel and Joseph Trahan touched on this Sunday, on your podcast about, people who have been in trouble before. They don't realize that when they get off of parole or probation, they can vote and they can have a voice again. I mean, not that they didn't have one, but based on the situation, it was, they could not vote. And it really all comes down to, it is my duty. It is LaDonna, Jalen, Jordan, Naomi, yours, Tony, anybody who understands the voting process, the getting registered process, why we vote, why we should vote, is our job to talk about those things everywhere we go. You're standing in the grocery store. Do it. Yeah. Like, I have these conversations all the time in very strange places because I feel that this voting stuff is serious. We need to talk about this. We need to educate people. If we want change, it starts with voting, and it starts local.
And it starts with you.
That's absolutely right.
And
And I kind of like what Mary did. She touched on like me and Naomi and Donna talked about like, you know, the education and people not knowing and how organizations and elected officials could or incumbents can do their part to letting people know. But, you know, the first part of like getting anybody involved with politics is civil engagement. That's it. Civic engagement. That's the first step. And so I'm so glad you brought that up, Mary, because that is so true. Just really citizens talking to each other about the issues that they face is really the first step of getting people involved in politics. So thank you for that, Mary.
hey, great guys. Hey, again, if you're watching the show, my viewers are watching the show, listen, share this video. These are some young adults that has the energy and the fire to make changes in our area, to our generation behind us. And they need your support, just like we're going to support them. They need your support. So share this video, Knowledge is Power Podcast Live on Facebook Live, and also on my new Facebook page, Knowledge is Power Podcast Live.
Now let me ask you, this is my first time here. Where are we streaming now? Where can people see this now? Who's looking at this? Where are we at?
We can also go to YouTube Live.
Okay.
Yes, you're on YouTube. Knowledge is Power. Podcast Live is on YouTube, and you can share that with everybody. If you're not on Facebook, you can go to YouTube Live and subscribe to subscribe to Knowledge is Power Podcast Live. So we want the word out. We want the word out. So share this video, people. This is good. This is good information that we're sharing. And this is why I do this, is that because I found out 2 months ago is that we're not, I don't want to say this in a very, very proper way. I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings.
Right.
A lot of us adults, a lot of people that we talk to are not educated on the fact of politics, voting, education, health, money management, financial. They don't know. And this is why we're here to educate our people, to give them knowledge, wisdom, to help us, because you say you're not going to do it, they don't even know what a justice of peace is. You would think we all know, but we don't. So we must educate our community. It's not the fact they're not educated; they just don't know. And I said this on several shows of mine before, that it's not our fault that they don't know. The generation before us didn't teach us, didn't educate us, and their generation before them didn't do it. So we're like sitting out there alone, and we're trying to get there, but we don't know how. And the only way we can do it is educate our people and start voting. If you want to protest, let's protest and vote. Now, with that said, Mary, my first minority on my show.
I'm proud to be.
Hey, just tell me about your mission statement. Tell me a little bit about your mission statement.
Jalen's going to be probably the best for that.
Let me get Jalen. Okay, Jalen. Wait. No. Let's not do Jalen. No, I don't want that. I want to get to the guy that's been popping in and out of my video here. Now, where is he? He's popped out.
Mission statement.
He's popping in and popping out. Here you go. He's back.
There he is. He's ready. Go, Jordan. It's you, bud. You're up.
Jordan. Can you hear me, Jordan? Give me a thumbs up.
He can't hear us.
Jordan.
He's having some difficulties.
I was struggling to hear you guys earlier too.
Oh boy, y'all better
Go
stay.
ahead, Jalen, you take it.
Go ahead, James. Take it. Y'all better start buying those phones from the little corner stores now.
We're not counting them like really
I can read it. Y'all want me to read it off? I got it in front of
Yes,
me.
go ahead and read it off, sweetheart.
Okay. Even though we didn't. Okay. So Texas Young Democrats looks to the future with optimism. We are the future of the Democratic Party, and we believe that the values presented reflect our community. And 4 fundamental principles form our beliefs: growing the wealth of the state demand, wise investment in our natural resources, our physical and societal infrastructure, and all people, personal liberty and equal opportunity are fundamental to a prosperous society. Government must be open and accountable to all Texans. And then security means more than just protecting our borders. It means ensuring all aspects of the social and economic well-being of our citizens. As Democrats, we work tirelessly to put into practice the vision of the platform, a vision of fairer, safer, and more prosperous Texas. Thank you.
Thank you. No, thank you, guys. Hey, I'm just thrilled to have you all on here. So let's kind of answer some questions from our viewers that's come in, and let's kind of break them in. Let's start here with Mr. Terry Roy. Is he? Let's see here. Do I have a question there? There she is, a generation thing also. Okay, we know about that. So let's go to this one. Do any of them think literacy is people don't vote? It's something that we overlooked in all races. Who want to tackle that?
I will just say that we know that the education system is broken and is not definitely in favor of minorities, right? So we know that minorities are at a disadvantage when it comes to the educational system and many other systems that exist in America. So I can understand your point about illiteracy and us struggling to understand the offices and exactly what they mean, or just the ability to read and understand those things. So that could definitely play a piece in it. But again, it's about making it plain. So the onus then becomes on the people who do know to help the people who do not know. So that's how we help that. You know, even back in slavery time, there were slaves that could read and could not. Well, how was information transmitted that was written to the ones who could not read? Well, they told it. They shared those stories. So we're going to have to do that. We are going to have to take it upon ourselves. Each brother must bear the burdens of our others. Like, that's just what it is. And that's how we're going to uplift each other, if we bear our brothers. And so that's how we're going to help that.
Great.
Yeah, Naomi's right. Just to pick it back off of her, I'm glad that she said that, because me and my buds, one of my buds who's really in public policy, we talk about this a lot. Just having taken the onus on the people who actually are supposed to deliver the information. If you ever looked at like certain like legislation, definitely like state legislation, like it's kind of hard to read. Like from your like first like digest, is like, okay, what are all these outlines with this number? Wait a minute, why is this bill with this bill? Why is this all together? Like, why is this not separate? Like, these are two totally different things. So like, just to really educating people on the process is very important for us, because I mean, I don't know if like it's just straight up people who they can't read. I like how you said illiteracy, because I don't feel like they can't. It's not that they can't read common stuff, but it's just the fact that like a lot of this stuff, like when you're dealing with like public policy, is very complicated. Like just that first digest. So I'm glad Naomi said that, really putting it on, you know, the people who are delivering the information, policy legislators, to kind of make it more simple for people to digest.
And this is important because I feel like, not to be too biblical, but it says in all you'll get an understanding and make it plain, well, fool there, not error. So, bring it down. We don't need all the big words. Sometimes you have to talk to people in plain English where they can understand what you're saying. There's a time to be academic and, scholarly, but at the time that we need to enact some change, you have to make it plain, make it come home, make it personal.
Yeah, we have to meet people where they are, and we can't expect people to come to the level of academia or whatever you may feel that you're at. You have to meet them where they are if you want them to understand. And yeah, so it's on us that know to help those who don't know, because eventually they will become the people that know as well. So, and we'll have less people who don't.
Great, guys. Any last words from anybody before we close out our show for the evening? You're welcome. Well, I have one more question here. Is it a lot of? Let me see if I can post it. There we go. There we go. Can y'all read that? Who would like to tackle that? It's a lot of older generation that have issues with illiteracy, and that's the demographic that needs to be concentrated on.
Well, they vote.
But I mean, the
The older
older,
generation
yeah, they
get out and vote. They going.
yeah, they vote.
Because they was in an era of the 50s and the 40s and the 50s and the 60s that we had to vote. We knew we had to vote, and there was no other choice but to vote, because before that we even had to pay a poll tax. Did you not know that, guys?
Yeah.
Pay the yes,
And we had to take literacy.
right, and we had to pay a tax to go vote.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's before your generation.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't even
Sure.
know.
Yeah.
Surely.
Right. Yeah. And so that generation, this is the last end of that generation that had that experienced that. And that's the reason why they vote. I don't care if they fall out to bed, they're going to vote. So that's what we got to get you all to push that envelope to vote. We've got to push these people to vote. The young generation, we've got to get them involved. We got to get them involved. And one of the reasons why we get involved, because we need young people in places, young candidates begin to start running, like Naomi, and like quite a few of you, to start participating, and because we need your generation to get fired up and like you guys are. And I know it's going to make it work. I know you guys are going to make it work, but we need you to do the groundwork. We need knocking on the door. We need organizing. We need to do a whole lot of work. And if it's no need and have looting stores and stealing from stores and breaking in Targets. If you want to protest, put your energy into registering to vote and voting.
Right, and we have two powers ultimately: voting power and buying power. Put your money where your mouth is. If you don't like what's going on, pull your pocketbook out or pull out. Tell your friends to pull up, and if they don't pull up, then we pull it out. Go ahead. That's what you do.
Right, and we are $3.8 trillion, $3.8 trillion of power. The African American is the biggest consumer in the world. We buy some stuff. But if you want to protest that. Don't buy at that man's store. Let's start supporting our Black businesses as well. Let's put our Black people in business. Let's invest in our own. Because if we go to a Arab store on the corner, he takes that dollar you brought him and he takes it to his own place. And he's not bringing that dollar back to our communities. That's the reason why we need to get off our tails and do some stuff. I almost said the wrong word, but we need to get off our asses and do the things that we need to do. We need to get off our ass and vote.
It's vital.
It is. It is. So, people, share this video, share this podcast with your friends, family, friends. Share it everywhere. I want that's wanting to make a difference. There's no need in us fighting each other, and we got to we have to have unity. And it's time for us to come together, because if we just come together, we'll be unstoppable. You watching Knowledge is Power on Facebook and YouTube Live every Sunday and Tuesday evening, right here on Facebook. And also, I want you to wait. Let me go to my other viewer. I got another announcement to make. Let's see before we close out. Yes, there we go. Is it showing there? Yes. Okay, great. A visual roundtable discussion is going to be this Thursday. This Thursday, right here on Facebook Live and YouTube Live on Knowledge is Power. We're doing a special Thursday evening program. I don't I usually don't have a podcast on Thursdays. The only podcast I have is on Sundays and Tuesdays. But we knew we need to have this roundtable, a visual roundtable discussion and we're going to discuss about the city of Beaumont, where we live right now, local issues, problems, and concerns with local citizens. I want ordinary local citizens to join me on this podcast. So that's this Thursday on Knowledge and Power. So text me or email me if you would like to join this program. I can have as many as I want on here. I want you to express yourself. I want you to understand that we want to let our elected officials know that we have concerns, and we want to work with them to bring a difference in our livelihood here in Beaumont, Texas. You know, we have floods, we have bad streets, we got drainage system, we got water issues. We've got problems right here in our own backyard, and I want the citizens of Beaumont to text me, inbox me, and I will send you a link to join this podcast on Thursday, so we can have just talk. And we're going to talk as long as I'll let you talk as long as you want to. So with that said, thank you guys. I've just had a wonderful show with the Young Democrats of Southeast Texas. I want to give you a hand, and I'd like to come back again. Naomi, I wouldn't do this right now on live.
Oh Lord.
I want you and your opponent, George Millhouse, right? They're ready for Justice of Peace. I'd like to have you on the show, you two on, and do a forum. I want the public to know your platforms. Okay?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I want the public to know George Millhouse and Naomi Dahl on July the 14th. I want to have you on, guys. I'm gonna get back with you guys and see if I can get you on here, schedule you in here, and let the public know what you're all about, what your platform is, what you want to do, how are you going to make a difference?
Okay. Yeah, I'm available for that. The only day I'm not available is June the 20th, because I am hosting a virtual summit called Resilience 2020, where we will bring mental health professionals, physical health professionals, business professionals, real estate professionals to the community to provide resources to help us transition during this pandemic. So I'm not available on June the 20th because I will be hosting the Resilience 2020 virtual summit brought to you by Naomi Shower.
When is June the 20th? When is June the 20th? Let's find out when is June the 20th.
Oh, yeah, June 20th is Saturday.
No, I don't work on Saturdays.
Oh, excellent. From 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
No. But we're going to do that, and I've got quite a few shows coming on. And also, I'm going to do Sunday evening at 8 o'clock. I'm sorry, Sundays at 7:30. I'm going to have the Black Caucus here. Yes, they're going to be with us, joining us on Sunday, along with Michael Cooper with the Beaumont NAACP, and Royce West, who's running on in the 14th election.
So if I could just segue real quick. I'm sorry, Tony. You brought up Michael Cooper, and I just want to say he did an amazing job of hosting the gathering at the NAACP. There was just so much inclusion and diversity, and it goes back to like that unity thing you were talking about. Yes. It's like when we're talking about unity, we have to make sure everybody is united. In the past, we tried to talk about unity, but unfortunately, there were certain demographics left out of that. We have to make sure Black people are part of it, Hispanic people are part of it, straight people are part of it, gay people are part of it, trans people are part of it. We need a totally inclusive unit when we're talking about unity. So I just wanted to say that because that unity thing, I really love that word. Emoji is everything to me.
I love that too. I see it coming. I see we're gonna get there, but we have to have unity to get where we need to go. And if we just come together and stop backbiting and learning how to love one another and work with one another, we can solve anything that we want to do. Again, I always say this: we are unstoppable once we come together. I also have one more announcement before we go. I'm trying to find it here. I don't know where it is. Let's see here. Excuse me, folks. I'm just trying to. No, that is not it. Let's see here. There we go. Yes. Okay. I've received had a talk, a chat with Allison Gertz. She's the downtown county treasurer office. What is that office? The
Tax assessor collector.
Yes, yes. And she also informed me that that office is going to be open. That office is open at the courthouse. You can mail bring your voters register there as well. And I thank you, Allison, for sending me that note. And also going to have her on one evening, so we can she can share information from the tax assessor's office since we've gone through this COVID-19. With that, we're saying, guys, I'm going to go. I'm going to talk to you guys. Don't leave. I'm gonna close us out. Knowledge is power. See you on Thursdays, 8 o'clock. And be ready. And guys, I want y'all to stay backstage with me, and I'm going to turn this off, okay?
Okay. Thanks for having us, Tony.